Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Colorado Avalanche franchise mode. So, in last episode, we had the season simulation where we dominated, going 58, 14, and 10. One of our best seasons, I think, so far. And actually, we had the top three goal scorers or point scorers in the league, including Forsberg, Sakic, and Fleury's. That line just continues to do what they've done since the beginning. I think also Joe Sakic led in goals, and then one thing that was pretty insane was our rookie defenseman Sam Strudwick had a probably one of the best defensive seasons in rookies like forever. Like holy crap! Like this guy was playing on the bottom six at first, or the top six pairing. He had 61 points because he was playing on the power play, as you can see, and he was a plus 47. This guy was absolutely insane. And I actually looked afterwards, and this guy, even though he just won the Calder, he's also going to win the Norris Trophy, as he had like 15 more points than Brian Leach, who was second place. So we have at least quite a bit of hardware, maybe even a Vezina Trophy to Patrick Waugh or something. Like this team has just been really insane like so far, and I'm hoping they will continue it in the playoffs against the St. Louis Blues as we're up against them in the first round. I'll show you guys their lines again just in case you forget. Just because like the last episode you guys would have seen would have been on this Friday because I'm pre-recording this, so you guys would have been seeing this on the Tuesday, so like after the weekend. So as you can see, they got some really good pieces like Pavel Demitra, Eric Dezay, Hanzus, Jim Campbell, Faluna, I guess you could say is pretty good as well. Turgeon, everybody else is pretty good complimentary. Gagne is like their weak point really. Like their fourth line is not that bad, but Gagne is pretty weak by comparison to the rest of their team. Their defense is actually pretty weak except for Chris Pronger. Like Vihicola, this guy should be growing. So they got a good prospect kind of. And then their top six pairings is kind of, yeah, really bad. Like Smith is dropping off. Boumedienne, I don't think he's going to grow much. And then Bindulis and Zubov are kind of weak as well. Zubov could still potentially make that low top four role, but it doesn't look like he's going to. And then goaltending wise, they're kind of weak as well, as Chickmanic is starting to drop off, and then Hoffer's not really a good backup. And yeah, they don't have the greatest depth either. So, like, I mean, if we could shut down that top line of theirs, I think we should be able to make it onto the second round. And if we did what we did all season long, which is score goals and play defense, I think we should be able to get onto the second round again. Like, I'm hoping we could go back to that Stanley Cup Finals again, obviously after last year's disappointment in losing to the Boston Bruins. So here we go, game number 1 on home ice, which we're going to have for the entire playoffs. Let's see if we could get this done, guys. First period, and it's 2-0 Blues. You gotta be joking me. If Patrick Waugh plays really bad throughout the first couple games and we lose multiple, I might give Carter a shot. So Polarin opens the scoring late, and then another late goal from Jim Campbell, and we're down by 2 goals somehow after one. Shots are 13-10 in favor of us. Second period, there you go, guys. Answer back with 2 your own. An early goal from Steve Sullivan, so that was 3 quick goals technically between the 2 periods. And then Forsberg scores with 10 minutes and 7 seconds left, and we have a tie game going into the third. Shots are 23-18 in favor of us. Let's see if we could get that goal to go ahead. Usually when one team scores 2 goals in a period, then there's always a bounce back period, it seems like. So at least that's how the simulation seems to work right now. And damn it, Jim Campbell scores his second to give the Blues their lead again. Come on, boys, let's tie this up again. And Falloon makes it 4-2. So we're going to lose game 1 on home ice. Maybe? Yeah, we are, because Forsberg gives us a chance, but not enough. So Forsberg at least playing really good, but we lose game 1. So Sullivan from Drury and Hayduk, Forsberg from Sakic and Fleury, and Forsberg from Fleury and Sakic. So that line continuing to do what they did during the season. Unfortunately, we don't get the victory. 3 stars in that game. Jim Campbell gets first star, Forsberg the second star, and Fleury the third. Let me actually take a look at the penalties. So yeah, there was a lot of penalties taken, but mostly by the Blues. So we did not capitalize on the power play, it looks like, a lot. So hopefully that power play contributes more, because it should be able to, considering there's like a lot of good players on that first pairing, or first unit especially. Because I think that's how Strudwick did so good, playing with all those legends. So okay, I'm not going to change anything for game 2, but if we lose this game, I might make some changes for the next game, just because I'm kind of worried. I don't know if it's because Adam Foote got injured at the end of the season or what, but like, yeah, that was not a good way to start it off. Like, Foote was basically a rock back there to play good defense, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. So game number 2, come on guys, let's have an answer here. First period, and it's 2-1. Okay, I thought it was 1-1 at first. So Mike McBain, the guy that's actually subbing in for Adam Foote, scores, and then Joe Sakic makes it 2-0, and then a really late goal from Chris Pronger gives his team a chance. The shots are 14-11 in favor of the Blues. Second period, and it's 5-1 us. There you go, guys. Now we're starting to self-check Manic. Donovan makes it 3-1, Bullis makes it 4-1, and Donovan again making it 5-1. So our third line, I think, I think that's our third line coming through with some big goals. Let's just lock this down in the third. We should have this in the bag. And also, I'm going to just get some water quickly because my throat is dying. So Turgeon made it 5-2, but we still have a big lead here. Time is winding down, and we are going to take game 2 by a score of 5-2 and tie the series headed back to St. Louis. Hopefully we could take some games there. So McBain from Forsberg and Watt, Sakic from Forsberg and Hayduk, Donovan from Bullis and Strudwick, his first playoff point. Bullis from Drury and Darmour, Donovan from Dandino, and Forbes. Okay. So Donovan getting first star, Bullis the second star, and Forsberg the third. So Forsberg's off to a really good start, which is great. Just sucks that last year that he got injured in the playoffs, because that, I think, is the main reason we lost the Stanley Cup, because our offense just did not know what to do without Forsberg, because Forsberg's been leading the team in points for the last like 3 or 4 seasons. So yeah, hopefully we continue to do what we just did and score goals, because we've allowed 5 goals in 2 games, so a 2.5 goals against average, and we're scoring a lot of goals. Almost, yeah, we have 9 goals in 2 games, so 4.5 goals, 4 per game. So let's just keep this going. Let's score a lot of goals, but let's play great defensively like we did in the last game, because we know the Blues are going to play better on home ice probably. First period, and it's 2-0 St. Louis. God damn, another 2-0 period. So Falloon opening the scoring, and Pierre Turgeon making it 2-0. We're out shooting him 12-7, but Patrick Waugh is kind of dropping the ball a bit. Come on, guys. Second period, and there you go. Another bounce back period for us, just like in game 1. But this time, hopefully, we get the lead here in the third. Sakic making it 2-1, and Hayduk ties it up. We're out shooting them badly, 27-16. Come on, boys. Let's win this third period. That's where we collapsed in game 1. Let's make up for that. There you go. Peter Forsberg continuing to play really good. Makes it 3-2 for us, but Eric Dezay ties it right back up. Is this one of those games that are going to overtime? Maybe not. Donovan giving us the lead. Donovan's got 3 goals in his last 2 games. Where did that come from? Time winding down, and oh my god, a late goal from Pavel Dimitrov with 40 seconds left. I guess I could let him score, considering he was one of my favorite players. That, like, well, I really liked him before he was in that plane accident. So 4-4 game, going to overtime in game number 3. Come on, guys, we could do this. We're playing bad defensively this game, and my voice is dying. And there you go, game-winning goal from Chris Drury has given us a 2-1 lead, so that's a huge goal. Huge for our confidence going into game 4. Okay, so let's take a look at the events. So the goals, at least, Sakic from Strudwick. So Strudwick again picking up more assists. Hayduk from Drury and Donovan. Forsberg from Fleury and Sakic. Donovan from Dandino and Hayduk. And Drury from Hayduk. So our top 3 lines are all playing pretty good. and all Blues getting stars. Dezay, Dimitra, and Falloon, the first line for them, had a combined total for 9 points. So, yeah, we got to shut down that top line because, like, they just play really good together. Even though we're winning the series, we still got to shut it down. But we've scored an average of 4 goals in our last our first 3 games of the series. We've scored none below, none below 3 goals. I almost said 4 goals because of the first game, but that was the Blues. So, game number 4, let's see if we could take a commanding 3-1 series lead here and win both games in St. Louis. That would be huge. First period, and it's 1-1. Sakic opening the scoring for us, so that top line's still doing it. And in their top line, Eric Dezay scores. Like I said, we need to shut down that top line because it looks like they're getting going, especially after the last game having 9 points combined. Second period, and it's still 1-1, so this might be another game that goes to overtime depending on how this third is. So here we go, third period underway, and they already score on his third top line, Falloon. But we have a chance to tie it up, but we can't score on it. Come on, boys, tie this game up. This might be a series that goes 7 games if it continues like this, because it's been pretty tight. Final 5 minutes, come on guys, let's tie this up. And we are not going to get it done, and it's a tie series headed back home. So this one's going to a minimum of 6 games. So our only goal coming from Sakic, from Fleury and McBain in the first period. After that, our offense just dried up. Yeah, we got to shut down their top line again because they're the main reason they won that game. Like, they have now a combined 13 points in the last 2 games. And then Chickmanic also stood on his head that game. So, yeah, we got to shut down that top line somehow. And then we got to get our top line to contribute better than they did in that game, especially because they've been good for the first 3 games. That game, they didn't do that much, like the first goal, but that was it. Okay, so I believe this team should be able to win, so at least in Game 5. So I'm going to give them the chance with this lineup. If for some reason we lose, then I'm going to change up the lineup for Game 6. So first period of game number 5, and it's 2-0 us. There you go, Mike Watt with both goals. And they're both exactly 10 minutes apart, so good job, Watt. Shots are 9-7 in favor of us. Second period, and it is 3-0. Yes, Zadorov getting his first playoff goal. None of the youngsters actually had a goal before this game, so like Culp hasn't scored yet, and then also Strudwick hasn't yet either, so hopefully those guys start to contribute soon. And third period underway, we have a 3-0 lead. We're playing a lot better defensive. Well, actually, we played good defensively last game too. It's just we could not get enough offense going. Forbes makes it 4-0. Final 8 minutes of this third period. A great performance from Patrick Waugh in this one. And we are going to shut them out 4-0. And we have a chance to take the series in St. Louis. Or else it might be going to a 7th game. So Watt from Zadorov and Miller, Watt from Zadorov and Culp, Zadorov from Watt and Culp, and then Forbes from Bullis. So that 4th line, actually, yeah, it was the 4th line that got 3 of those 4 goals. So I applaud that 4th line. Culp picking up his first 2 playoff points, Zadorov having a 3-point night, and then Watt having a 3-point night as well. So great job, 4th line. Watt gets first star, Watt the second star, and Zadorov the third. Okay, so we are 1 win away from going to the second round. Can we get it here in St. Louis, or will it be going back to a Game 7 on home ice? Come on, boys, you can do this. We've been scoring goals. We've been playing some good defensive games. Let's just get this victory here. We're doing this playoff run for Adam Foote, just like what we did for Peter Forsberg last year, but it ended in failure. First period, and it's 1-0 for us. So the top line continuing to do what they did for most of the series so far. Sakic with the goal. Shots are 11-6 in favor of us. Second period, and it's 4-0 us, so that's probably going to write off the series right there. Forsberg with 2 goals and Sullivan with 1. And we are a period away from the second round. St. Louis has just not gotten a lot of shots in this game, but they're starting to get a bit more here in the third. But we have a 4-0 lead again, and Ralph Culp picking up his first playoff goal, making it 5-0. Good job, dude. But Jim Campbell's going to break the shutout streak of Patrick Waugh that almost lasted 2 games. And that is going to be your final score, 5-1. And we are moving on to the second round. So good contributing from every line in that series. So Sakic from Fleury, Forsberg from Fleury and Sakic, Sullivan from Drury, Forsberg from Sakic and Fleury, and Culp from Watt and Zadorov. So yeah, like I was just saying, every line contributed in that series. Like the top line did for most of those games. Then there was one game where like Donovan had multiple points. That was the third line. And then the fourth line played great in one game. The second line, I think, has been struggling the most out of all our lines. But that doesn't matter really that much. We're getting on to the second round. So let's take a look at who we are going up against in the next round of the playoffs. We're not going to take a look at the roster just yet. We're going to take a look at our player stats first. But we are taking on the San Jose Sharks, who swept the first round. Don't know who they played. So, yeah, let's take a look at our player stats for the first round. That was a really good first round. Even though it went 6 games, we just got a lot of offense in that series. So, Sakic 9 points in 6 games. Might be one of his last seasons in the NHL, like his potential has dropped. Forsberg and Fleury 7 points in 6 games. So our top line's all over point per game. And then Watt, Drury, Hayduk all have 5 points. Donovan, Zadorov have 4 points. Poulos, Culp have 3 points. Sullivan only 2 points. It's kind of depressing a bit. Forbes also 2 points. McBain 2 points. Strudwick 2 points. Dandenault 2 points. And then Miller, Darmour have 1 point. And Ozolinsh had no points in that series. Damn. That is actually really not that good. Because he was playing on the power play and that sort of thing too. So I don't know what he struggled with. But no points for Ozolinsh. And then obviously our depth guys. Wolfwood is out with an injury. Had no points as well. So everybody else still having a point in that series. So that was really good. And then Patrick Waugh. The save percentage isn't the greatest. But the goals against is pretty solid. And then obviously the win-loss ratio is pretty good. So not a bad first round. So let's take a look at who the San Jose Sharks have in their lineup. I would assume they're not that great. Yeah, their record wasn't that good either, and they made the playoffs 36, 38, and 8. So they somehow managed to just barely squeak in, and then they also swept the first round. So this might be a cheese team. I'm kind of nervous to see what they look like. Because if they are really bad, they might end up being one of those underdog teams. So they have Marco Sturm, Patrick Marleau, and Cooper Strome. So not a bad first line. You got a young Patrick Marleau. You got a young Cooper Strome. And then Marco Sturm is actually kind of young too. Second line, Matthew Barnaby, German Titov, and Bill McCult. So you got guys that are kind of getting up there in age. And then third line, Matthew Bouliane, who's 23. Manuel Wiedre and Vesa Intila, who is a medium top 6 forward prospect. Then you also got Felix Antoine Marcotti, Connor Dewar, and Gaspard Petit. So their offense is actually really young by comparison to other teams. Like their oldest player is Titov, but after that they have like one 30-year-old. So this team is actually really young so far. So this might be a kind of a team that makes the playoffs multiple seasons, or makes the playoffs and misses the playoffs like year in and year out. So defensively, they got Rathje and Rivers, Kokkonen and Malikov, who's also one of their older veterans. And then you got Oscar Persson and Isaiah Thomas. Goalie-wise, they got Steve Shields, who's also one of their veterans, and Lance Dundas. Scratch, they got Corpon and Houdet. So yeah, overall-wise, I'm not too scared of their team because it's a really young team. But then again, anything could happen in the playoffs because obviously with the real life, with the Columbus Blue Jackets beating Tampa Bay, anything could happen in these postseasons. So I don't know. We might be able to beat them. We might not be able to beat them depending on if we just continue what we did in those last 2 games, especially scoring a lot of goals and playing good defensively. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.